The TVWan News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Good evening. Welcome to TVWan News. I'm Maricela Kelaton.
And I'm Jasmine Irajak. Join me later in the bulletin for sports.
In this edition, Marape unfazed over MP's move to opposition, new police vehicles for Northern Command, and hunters and jets set for Saturday trials. Prime Ministers Marape and Albanese met in Canberra for the PNG Australia Annual Leaders Dialogue, emphasizing mutual commitment to a comprehensive partnership. Discussions focused on bolstering security, addressing climate change, and enhancing economic collaboration. They highlighted joint efforts to combat cyber threats and gender-based violence. Australia's significant investment in Papua New Guinea's law enforcement was acknowledged. Both leaders pledged support for regional peace and prosperity, including initiatives like the PNG Climate First program. They celebrated achievements in health and education and renamed the Australia Awards as the Samaria Whitlam Awards. Sporting ties were reaffirmed with aspirations for a PNG franchise in the National Rugby League. Plans for a memorial honoring Australian Kiaps contributions were discussed, concluding with a commitment to Pacific-led initiatives for regional unity. Prime Minister James Marape today returned from Australia. On Thursday, he addressed both the members and senators of the Australian Parliament to acknowledge and thank the people and government of Australia who have given much support to Papua New Guinea's development. Prime Minister Marape in a press conference this afternoon upon his return from addressing the Australian Parliament on Thursday, 9 February, outlined once more his address to the Australian government and its people.
It was a good trip, and that trip consolidates our own relation with Australia, but also, again, within the context of our own relationship elsewhere, we have never compromised our own relationship elsewhere. I want to appreciate the country for holding up, waiting on us. The reception in Australia was second to none in a very long while. It was good. Prime Minister Albanese basically did also indicate that independence was not a choice for them. It was really our right to have self-determination at 75. I thought his use of word was appropriate. I just want to say, as I stand back in our own home soil, and I want to remit through you media to Australian leadership present and Australian leadership into the future, that the words yesterday consolidates our past, and we must now work to construct our shared future without taking for granted what the future will be. Inputs both sides will put in to make PNG and Australia relationship secure is something that we on this side are getting to work as they on their side are getting to work.
A bilateral meeting between Prime Ministers Marape and Anthony Albanese also took place on Thursday.
There's a free flow of conversation in our own commitments to work that space, especially them having had our need to be economically self-reliant. The assurance that the more Papua New Guineans finding work down there on short-term visas, work visas, as well as long-term work visas will be expanded, not just seasonal fruit picking, but as we go down there and step into Australia, our workers will be trained to go into the technical vocational skill areas.
Both Prime Ministers have reaffirmed that Australia and Papua New Guinea are equal partners, working in partnership to promote peace, prosperity and resilience bilaterally and in the region. Furthermore, Prime Minister Marape says the Australian government has expressed its eagerness to participate in Papua New Guinea's 50th independence anniversary celebrations come 2025.
Looking forward to receiving them next year in our 50th anniversary celebrations. That would be work that our leaders would work towards, not just a physical celebration, but we're looking at rebooting our public service system and our key institutions of state. We will work those space so that in 50 years celebration next year, we have a system that carries our country beyond James Marape time in office.
Furthermore, following the recent resignation from government by Bulolo MP Sam Basil Jr. and East Sepik Governor Alan Bird, Prime Minister Marape appears confident in his numbers. A Pangu Party convention will also be taking place this Sunday, 11 February, before Parliament resumes on Tuesday, 13 February.
My own Pangu Party has a caucus number of at 53 as I speak, and growing. Possibly, my senior coalition partners, URP maintains full support, SDP maintains our full support, and I want to give recognition to the Deputy Party Leader, Minister Joseph, and member for WIWEC here today. I want to acknowledge People's First Party in our Minister for Labour, here with us. Our number in government is above the absolute majority level. We commit to our country, as we spoke yesterday. The greatest response to the effort many have put in to make PNG what it is today is the contribution where this generation of leaders rise to deliver performance to our people and make PNG successful.
West Sepik Governor Tony Wowo said his resignation from the government was to teach the government that there must be equal distribution of wealth to all the provinces across the country. He said his decision was nothing to do with the vote of no confidence. However, it had everything to do with putting the government on notice to improve in equal distribution of wealth. He said impact projects in his province were not captured in the 2024 national budget, which demeans his presence in the government. The event of 10th January was what convinced him to make his exit.
The benefit of the country is to go down to the youth, which are now working on the street without the jobs. This is the basic what transpired for the last almost 5 years now, which our Prime Minister took off the office and said to take back the PNG. This is our country. So all of us voted for the Prime Minister. All of us voted for the MPs. So the MPs that are in the NEC have to be mindful of how they conduct government business. Government business is for the benefit of this country, not for one strategic location.
Over the past 10 months, in his tenure as being the acting secretary, the Department of National Planning and Monitoring Secretary Connie Samuel held a meeting on Thursday to acknowledge his senior management committee for their support throughout his time as the acting secretary. The reappointment of Samuel as secretary was officially confirmed on the 31st of January by the National Executive Council and signifies his second consecutive term as the secretary for DNPM. The meeting marked the first SMC meeting following the government's reappointment of Samuel as secretary for the next 4 years. Samuel's speech outlined his expectations for the department, particularly in the areas of management roles and responsibilities and fostering professionalism within the workplace. He spoke on DNPM's prospective plans concerning officers with housing entitlements, envisaged development and training initiatives, appraisal procedures, and potential structural reforms. Minister for Works and Highways Solan Mirisim has brushed aside allegations of massive payments to contractors engaged in the government's flagship program, Connect PNG. Mirisim, in a press conference today, said the allegations raised by opposition is not true.
A frustrated Minister for Works and Highways, Solan Mirisim, in a media conference today, labeled the allegations by the opposition on the massive payment of 3.897 billion kina on Connect PNG program as unfounded and misleading. He said the total ongoing contract values on records for the 4 contractors engaged in the program is only 764 million kina.
Not IFMS list. This is the false list that were fabricated and put out saying that each of the contractors were paid 3.5 billion and 1.7 billion. These are all lies. The correct list that the payments from Works Department and the Connect PNG payments that been distributed, or the records, the check records that were paid out, is on my right. And the left is the fabricated list that is on my left.
Minister Mirisim further clarified that the Connect PNG program is about local capacity building, and the government is giving every Papua New Guinean company equal opportunity to participate and contribute to the nation building infrastructure. He added that the program is also employing more than 30,000 local employment per year. He feels the opposition's claims is an insult.
We have all the records of all the checks that paid in the last 8 months. Everything is here. In the last 8 months, this list is a fabricated list, and it has been multiplied 8 or 10 times before they're running up to the amount of 3.5 billion, which is false.
Secretary for Works David Were also begged the minister, saying Connect PNG program is at work reaching the unreached.
A lot of tampering and manipulation that has taken place to frame up figures that leads to the original announcement that was made. That's the only issue. So it's a lie.
In a media conference on Thursday, Governor for East Sepik Alan Bird said one reason he decided to resign from the government is the blowout of payments to contractors engaged in the Connect PNG program.
Change it so that every single Papua New Guinean has an opportunity. Ino blo yubla hela ta sol Southern Islands ogda contract yubla kisi blo yubla yet. Tribla budget golo yubla yet.
Minister Mirisim is now blaming the opposition for misconstruing the figures in the IFMS system.
So let us not mislead. Let us not mislead this program. It is a 20-year development agenda of this government that is implemented under the whole of a government approach structure, which various states and agencies are playing their respective roles to make this dream come true, the 100% road connectivity by 2040.
Freddie Moe, TVWan News.
You're watching TVWan News. When we come back, POMGen mortuary overcrowding and new police vehicles for Northern Command. Stay tuned.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
Hiya, Mama. You wait time, but me add him special flavor.
Put in more flavor, put in more taste. Magic kakaru, get up a big smile on face. Time for kimchi and a great fumu too. Sip, sip, the mumu, yes, magic on you.
Maggi, the taste PNG loves.
Open lens.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager, Bunyam Yumi.
A quick favorite meal for the day does feel good. Snacks noodles is my choice for a simple meal. It is easy to prepare and fast to cook. And with a touch of flavor and ingredients, quality noodles that can be cooked and enjoyed in many different ways. You see, my whole family loves it. It's made here in PNG and comes in different pack sizes. Snacks noodles, tastier by you like you more.
Your clan, all the samurai, they need you now more than ever.
What did you see?
It's big. We're gonna make it home.
Make sure you're not late for dinner.
Buckle up.
Dancing his way for the touchdown.
You got the Super Bowl fever? No medicine gonna cure that except watching the big game. Call in sick. Trust me.
Welcome back. The Port Moresby General Hospital mortuary was built pre-independence to hold 60 bodies at one time from a population of 200,000. It was meant for the deceased coming out of the General Hospital. Today, it holds more than 300 bodies. The overcrowding in the morgue containers is coupled with compressors unable to keep the bodies frozen and bad smell in recent weeks. Hospital CEO Dr. Paki Malumi revealed that many bodies come from outside the hospital and are accommodated at the PMGH morgue because the city does not have a public mortuary. Today, the hospital receives 10 to 15 bodies each day, and hospital deaths are about 6 a day. The hospital has resorted to mass burials for unclaimed bodies, which is time-consuming and expensive. It costs around 80,100 per mass burial.
It becomes unclaimed body, and we will start the process of disposal of unclaimed body. That policy is in draft. It's been prepared. It will go through the board in the first meeting of this year.
It was a great way of giving back and helping the community with the issue of sea level rising. Member for Hiri Koyari Kit Idu, who shared this when volunteers in Gaira village stepped forward to help rebuild the Toru seawall recently. Idu, who praised the 12 selfless volunteers who came up with the initiative to protect the community from habitual threat of high tides and climate change. According to Human Rights Watch, for PNG, it is facing more than double the global average in annual sea level rise, and the worst is yet to come. He shared that the District Development Authority is actively encouraging more community action to better the environment, and wherever they can, will show up, endorse great initiatives, and provide support. In support of the work of the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary in Gulf Province to carry out their mandated duty to serve and protect, Papua LNG have donated 7 23-foot dinghies to the Gulf RPNGC. Papua LNG states that they believe in the importance of investing in law and order, as throughout close consultations with the local communities, often a breakdown of law and order and the lack of transportation have been two of the key issues raised. PNG states that they believe in the importance of investing in law and order, as throughout close consultations with the local communities, often a breakdown of law and order and the lack of transportation have been two of the key issues raised. 2 dinghies will be distributed to the police station in Kerama, 2 to the Baimuru Rural Police Station, 2 to the Kikori Police Station, and 1 to the station in Wabo. Additionally, each of the dinghies will be equipped with a 40 HP engine, 5 life jackets along with 3 drums of fuel. Accepting the donation of the 7 dinghies was Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police for Southern Region, Joe Puri, Gulf Provincial Police Commander Jeffrey Lam, along with senior staff from Total Energies, operator of the project. Papua LNG states that they recognize the significance of fostering the partnership between the provincial government and the local communities, as well as the need to uphold community safety through the vital operations of police in and around the project area of influence. Members of the Royal PNG Constabulary Northern Command have been encouraged to take ownership of the 27 new vehicles that will be given to them. Police officers from Eastern Highlands and Medan joined their counterparts in Lae today to witness the handing over of their new Land Cruisers.
Coronation Drive in front of the Lae Central Police Station was blocked off today as members of the Royal PNG Constabulary Northern Command held a parade to commemorate the handing over of the new police vehicles. Northern Command covers Morobe, Eastern Highlands and Medang provinces. This morning, police personnel from Eastern Highlands and Medang joined their counterparts in Lae to witness the first delivery of the 26 million Kina government-funded contract with Elamotos, which was executed in December 2023. The GST-free contract was for the procurement of 130 Toyota Land Cruisers for police throughout the country. Today, 27 of them were delivered to the Northern Command. Morobe, being the largest and most populous of the 3 provinces, will get 19, Eastern Highlands will get 3 and Medang 5. Acting Commander for NCD and Central, Assistant Commissioner of Police Peter Guinness, when outlining the constabulary's expectations of the new vehicles, said they will not be tinted.
These vehicles will not be tinted, but run clear. Now all the man Mary by looking community now looks away. When a policeman is driving this car, when a policeman is driving this car, Boli drive around. That's all. You mean no naplo, tinti mo this little glass car number you around. Because you mean tinti mo this little car, can't tinting is a cup. Lo mibla. Now this is like no good. Long image long RPNGC. We always talk about transparency. So let us be transparent. Now you must policeman. Now police very road. You know when car tambu can reveal you. Private. I mean no private car. Now plus something lo this car time only installing this radio na. All this something is here. So was you play lo this radio or what I'm all something inside lo automatically by carrier by engine by stop. So no good you start some lab na you work in other business stuff na then you like starting car by you don't have to start yeah.
ACP Guinness emphasized that millions of kina are spent every year on hire cars. In Medang alone, between November 2023 and this year, at least 400,000 kina is spent per month for the 16 vehicles that they are hiring. This information was confirmed by Medang Provincial Police Commander, Acting Superintendent Robert Baim. ACP Guinness said this practice has made hire car companies become overnight millionaires, all at the expense of taxpayers. He stressed that police personnel need to take responsibility and ownership of the new assets. Camila Guare, TVWan News, Lae.
And now the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.2668 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was buying $0.2593 US, $0.3966 Australian dollars, $0.2331 euro, and 38.38 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, cocoa, copra, and crude oil closed higher. gold, coffee and copper closed lower, while palm oil closed the day unchanged. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, ASX closed higher, and all ordinaries closed higher as well. TVWan News continues after the break. Stay with us.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase easy pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
A true champion is measured by their courage, their determination, and their passion to never give up and to always keep trying. With a delicious Milo in milk taste and added nutrients, Milo in milk is a great way to fuel our little champions with nourishing energy every day. Because true champions give it their all.
Milo, PNG and Mia. Pine PNG made.
All Mama Flame is not all same.
Me say you sing flame flower long one him. Me say me Kim Kai belong family belong me. You go more yet.
Man belong me save like him flower balls belong me what them kawa war na spring onion. All pikinini belong me save like him to mas pineapple donut me save walk him lo house. They make kumu mix him on them cow na karamapim long flower.
Tasty hash browns.
Time is scaling one time olara pela kai. Me save kissing more kai long all get a toya mi tromoy one time flame flower.
You enough making more one time flame flower.
Enjoying life when we work together, making happy memories that last forever. Hot in talk, young or old, a scale race, family meal with home. We'll bring out the smiles, cause it's our favorite one minds. Tennessee cola, scale rice, don't scale price. Tennessee cola, scale rice, don't scale price. Amber, you like it?
Hardware House is more than just a store. It is where quality meets affordability, where culture is proudly celebrated. Spanning 9 provinces, we pride ourselves in offering top-notch customer support and services. We're more than just a store. We're more than a brand. We are Hardware House.
It's the law of the jungle out here. It's the only law that matters.
It'll be you versus him. And that is not a fight that you are designed to win.
Dad, please be careful.
We're gonna make it home.
Don't you move.
Beast.
Straight Renton will go himself. Renton reaches, and Hugh Renton scores behind in the set.
Welcome back. A team from Japan representing the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, visited the Papua New Guinea Fire Service headquarters in the nation's capital on Thursday. They have been to other countries, and this is their first time visiting the Papua New Guinea Fire Service to conduct training with the PNG Fire Service.
4 representatives from the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, known widely as JICA, will be providing technical assistance to the PNG Fire Service in the space of redesigning the training program on how to combat disaster and emergency in the country. Deputy Fire Chief Luaroa welcomed the JICA officials, who are visiting PNG for the first time.
We would like to give our special welcome and great appreciation to the government of Japan JICA and facilitators, including the trainers, for their tireless effort in making this training a successful one.
JICA representative for the Training Program Division and Partnership Program, Ogata Yozi, said they were here to confirm the number of trainees who went to Japan for training and help in the implementation of their action plans.
In this session, we would like to know the basic information of this Papua New Guinea, these countries, and the fire and disaster management. So we have the question list, and we will ask some questions for the related person, and we want to gather the information, okay, for the future course.
Mr. Yozi said the outcome of the training will see a review of the training program and address the impediments to the implementation of the action plan.
4 aims of this following ups in PNG. So first one is to understand the current situation of ex-trainees, the status of implementation of the action plan which they made in Japan. Second one is to deepen the knowledge on firefighting and disaster prevention through the complementary training for the ex-trainees and the related persons. So we will hold workshops in PNG. And the third one is gather information to improve the training course in the future. Because next year and 2 years later, in the future, we will do this. We will continue this training course. So we want to gather the information and to make the most of use of this information in the future course. Yeah, we try to improve the training programs, the curriculums, because I think the situation of the country will be changing, right? Every year.
The JICA team will depart the country next Thursday, 15 February. Jane Budo, TV1 News. Turning overseas, highly radioactive water leaked from a treatment machine at the tsunami-hit Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, but no one was injured and radiation monitoring shows no impact to the outside environment, the utility operators said on Thursday. According to Tokyo Electric Power Company Holdings, a plant worker found the leak Wednesday morning during valve checks at a Seri treatment machine designed to remove cesium from the contaminated water. The machine has been idled for maintenance work. An estimated 5.5 metric tons of radioactive water, enough to fill 2 ordinary backyard swimming pools, leaked out through an air vent, leaving a pool of water on an iron plate outside and seeping into the soil around it, TEPCO said, but no radioactive water escaped the compound. It's not clear when the machine began leaking, but TEPCO said the leak may have been caused by valves accidentally left open while workers flushed the machine-filled filtered water. The New South Wales government has announced the first parcel of land to be turned into housing in a long-awaited flood recovery program for northern New South Wales. It comes as ahead of the 2-year anniversary of what was the most costly natural disaster in Australian history.
A long-awaited flood recovery program known as Resilient Land. It was announced back in October 2022. The floods that hit this region were in February 2022, so we are approaching the 2-year anniversary at the end of this month. And what we've learned today and what the Premier is coming to discuss today is that this parcel of land where I'm standing now, a 72-hectare site, will be developed into housing. It's flood-free land for residents to escape the floodplain. So the vision is that more than 400 dwellings will be established here in a mix of low and medium density housing, and it will give residents an opportunity to use government buybacks of their high-risk flood-damaged properties to purchase land here or to relocate their historic timber homes from the stumps that they were on down in the floodplain to this somewhat higher ground in East Lismore. It's the first step for some people in having some certainty in where they'll be able to go to when they leave the floodplain. A lot of people have been waiting for this announcement.
Okay, so what are residents who were affected back in 2022 by the floods, what are they saying?
Yeah, we've heard a range of reactions this morning. Some people really happy to finally have this level of certainty, but other people are disappointed. In fact, we heard the phrase bitterly disappointed, because what we've heard is that properties will go on the market from 2026. And that's still, several years away, and a long time to wait for people who, experienced this catastrophic natural disaster 2 years ago. So there is some frustration about the time which this program has already taken to reach this point of announcing land, and frustration again about how long it will take to make this very green space, very undeveloped land into, to prepare it to have houses built on it. What we have heard, I guess there are some questions about how residents who are in the floodplain and they get market value for their properties when they get a buyback, but if you're in a floodplain, the market value is not as high as a property would be which is safe from flooding. So there's some concern about how they'll be able to afford to bridge that gap, and there's also concern about how people who weren't eligible for a buyback in the first place will be able to afford new housing. So that has to some extent been addressed in the sense that of the 400 or so dwellings that will be built in this area, at least 20% will be set aside for affordable housing, and residents who are eligible and listed with the buyback program, they'll be given priority access to the new land and housing here. But yeah, there are still some concerns about whether or not they'll be able to afford that, how that process will work for them, and what happens to the residents who were very badly affected by the floods but for whatever reason weren't eligible for a buyback of their flood-damaged property.
Ipswich residents are calling for more action on youth crime following the death of 70-year-old Violin White last week. The grandmother was stabbed while grocery shopping on Saturday, and now a 16-year-old boy has been charged with her murder.
For greater action on youth crime in the wake of the death of Violin White in Ipswich last weekend. The 70-year-old grandmother was stabbed to death in the car park of this shopping centre on Saturday evening. A 16-year-old has been charged with her murder, is now going through the court system. But residents say this area has long been unsafe. They pointed to the fact that a local police beat closed down here in November 2022. Now, police have stationed mobile policing resources here at the shopping centre for the rest of the week. They also say the decision to close down that local police beat was made in consultation with local staff and community representatives. Either way, locals are not happy with the situation here in Ipswich, and they're calling for more action. Here's what a few of them had to say earlier.
Over the past week, when you have some politicians saying that this has never happened before, that this is new and that this doesn't happen in Redbank Plains and that this doesn't happen in Ipswich, but the truth is that it does. And it's become more frequent, it has become more violent.
So what are parents to do to prevent these children from behaving this way when there is nothing the Youth Justice Minister office can even offer me to support? I asked for.
Now, it's important to note that this community event was organised by a local council candidate. There are upcoming local government elections here in Queensland. There was also a local community event held here in Ipswich last night with police, the Australian African community and also the family of Violin White. They're calling for more action on youth crime as well, and they're also calling out vigilante attacks against African Australians in the community. Now, this is all part of a huge debate here in Queensland about youth justice and calls for greater action on crime prevention. The government has been grilled over its handling of youth justice in the past couple of days, and there are calls for the Premier Stephen Miles to take an even harder line on youth offenders. This is a really big topic here in Queensland, especially leading into the state election later this year, so I'm sure this will be the last time that we're talking about youth justice and youth crime.
This is TVWan News. Over to you, Jasmine.
Thank you, Maricela. In Hunters, we'll have Hunters Jets set for trial in PNG trio in QRL trial. Stay with us.
Beauty is my business, but beauty sure is a tough game. Filters are great, but great skin, better. And that's why my skin deserves the best. So I choose self-care, soaps that gently nourish my skin, resulting in a radiant look, made with tropical ingredients. I trust self-care from City Pharmacy. So bring it on! My skin is ready and so am I.
Make a true wish and become one of our lucky winners! Truka is giving away 400,000 kina with 1,000 kina up for grabs every fortnight. That's not all. 20 major winners will win 10,000 kina each. It's easy. Buy a 5 kg or 10 kg Truka medium grain or jasmine rice and look for the entry forms in the bag. Fill in your details and drop it in the entry box at your nearest participating store. Don't miss out. Make a true wish now. Terms and conditions apply.
Want more data for less? Get it now with Digicel's revamped Red Club. Enjoy data bundles from as low as 1 kilo per gigabyte. Plus rollover data, the widest coverage, fastest speeds, and best reliability. Only with Red Club. Join Digicel's exclusive Red Club today and get loads more data for less. Yes! Data bundles from as low as 1 kilo per gigabyte. Whoa! Join today for as low as 10 kilo weekly to access discounted data bundles and get more data for less. Dial *675# or visit the My Digicel app today. The Red Club. Only with Digicel.
New Fabuloso multi-purpose cleaner with an irresistible fragrance that lasts all day long, creating a field of flowers in every corner of your home with an irresistible fragrance that lasts and lasts all day long. Fabuloso irresistible fragrance.
Number One Super wants members Super to last as long as possible in retirement. With Number One Super's retirement savings account, you get regular payments while the balance remains invested and continues to grow, helping your super savings last longer. It's like still getting paid, even when you stopped working. Number One's retirement savings account. Contact us today to find out more.
Strong like you, smart like me. I hope they don't break. Now Charlie Loki's son. This is Relaxo. Strong plus thread. Should I try them on you?
No, please. I'll take them.
Relaxo. Very strong, lasts long.
Come in, number 3. Number 3, come in.
Help me! Get me out of here!
Inside premieres Saturday, February 24th, 9 p.m. on HBO.
Welcome back. As the 2024 softball season calendar now out, the Port Moresby Men's Softball Association will be hosting the second annual Corporate 7 Slow Pitch Softball Tournament from the 24th to the 26th of February 2024. 7 Slow Pitch Softball is the shorter version of the game, specially tailored to be fun, fast and furious, and to see which team can outwit, outlast and outplay their opponents and ultimately become champions for 2024. Last year's champions PNG Power defeated NASFAN Super in the grand final to claim the championship tag for 2023. The SP-PNG Hunters left for Brisbane today ahead of their first interstate trial match against Ipswich Jets Saturday at the Ipswich Reserve Sports Field in Brisbane. The team comprising 20 players and 3 officials. It is understood Hunters' next pre-season hit-out will be against Capras in the following week in Rockhampton.
After finalizing their playing roster for the 2024 Host Plus Cup season, the PNG Hunters flew off to Brisbane today ahead of Saturday's pre-season trial match against Ipswich Jets. The Hunters' key focus at training over the past week has been on process and getting the fundamentals of the game right. At the captain's run on Thursday, Hunters Pine player and halfback Jamie Mavoko again highlighted some crucial areas of their game that they need to improve on after last Saturday's inter-trial match between Team Black and Team White, mainly execution and discipline in both attack and defense.
The focus for this weekend's trial is basically we have to test complete sets and just work on our disciplines. Last week, most penalties, so we just need to work on our discipline.
In terms of combinations, Mavoko commented it's a bit of a struggle trying to get used to the new combinations with the new boys, but working hard to perfect his craft before the season opener against winner Manly Seagulls on the 9th of March.
Fortunately for me, it's a bit struggling. Most of the new boys, but I think we are getting better every session and every day. Yeah.
From his personal perspective, Mavoko is ready to take his game to the next level with a bit more consistency while taking one game at a time. Hopefully the results will come their way this year.
Team's going to be picked. Most of the boys from last year, there's a lot of experience here, so we have to, the coach have to base on the experience side, and yeah, most of the young boys will come and learn from us and build on that and look forward for the rest of the season. Yeah.
The travelling Hunters 20-man squad would be mostly players from last season with a few new boys from the 2024 squad. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
A good number of local PNG talents will be involved in the Central Queensland Capras vs NRL Dolphins trial match this weekend. The matchup scheduled for Saturday would certainly generate a lot of interest from the PNG community in and around the great state of Queensland. There will be no love lost when Capras trio Zev John, Bob Tenza and Kaya Ross Jr. face off with fellow PNG Dolphins Jeremiah Simbiken, Judah Rimbu and Stephen Numambo. Bulky rising Western Highlander and Hela Wigman product Ross Jr. is set to make an impression playing at the QRL level when he debuts for Capras alongside fellow Papua New Guineans John and Tenza, who have been at the Capras system for the past 2 seasons. Capras have a strong connection with PNG since the days of Nixon Put, Mackenzie Ye, Samuel Yegip and Jedidah Simbiken. Meanwhile, the Wayne Bennett coached NRL Dolphins side would also feature their own PNG flavor in Simbiken, Rimbu and Numambo, who are also primed to make an impression for selection to the NRL squad for 2024. Digital ExxonMobil Cup franchise managers and coaches are expected to step up this season on how they administer, manage and lead their respective clubs in a collaborative and more professional manner. However, this won't happen if communication and understanding of their roles and responsibilities is not there. At least that was one of the key takeaways from the recent PNG RFL competition conference held at the Holiday Inn in Port Moresby.
PNG RFL Manager of Competition Governance and Match Official Tony Archer lit up the PNG RFL Competition Conference, sharing some of his intriguing success stories and big games experiences both at NRL and on the international front. Archer's key message was about building a good teamwork culture within their respective clubs and, importantly, having that reliable and consistent communication link to better understand what everyone's role is.
Really important things that I've learned over the years is that the better we understand what everyone's role is, the better we understand the ways of working, the more successful we are. And that's all drawn together by communication. What we don't want out of a 2-day conference is that's the end. Communication needs to be with our clubs and our franchises constant. It needs to be purposeful, and most importantly, it needs to be about improving the competition. And I was really buoyed and confident from the feedback and the work that we got with them over those 2 days. And we'll work together over the next two and a half months to get the season ready. Not just alone, but together.
In his short stint with the PNG Rugby League so far, Archer was very critical about how easily some of those messaging get lost in communication when you have a really big group. The theory and practical sessions was aimed at freeing up coaches to coach and make the players better, adding they are giving them the tools to be able to upskill themselves and upskill their players thus adding value to their coaching career pathway.
And the reason we've designed the conference the way we have is that some of that messaging gets lost in communication when you've got a really big group. We've been really specific in this conference to ensure that we've got 2 days with our franchise managers, working with them on their roles, their responsibilities, our responsibilities to them. We've got the head coaches in for 2 days from both a theory but also a practical way. We want to free up our coaches to coach. We want to free up our coaches to make the players better. We're giving them the tools as the organisation, and Rugby League and PNG are giving them the tools to allow them to upskill the players. Upskill themselves so they're better coaches and they've got a career path. But upskilling them in turn upskills our players. So communication between player and coach is crucial.
Archer was impressed with the level of enthusiasm by coaches and managers and the willingness to learn from the theory, practical sessions, and the technical aspect of using software to review and analyze matches and taking the game to the next level. Archer concluded their expectations for 2024 season are high.
It's been an eye-opener. Their training, their pre-season, no different than a player. It started, they're doing technical work, they're doing theory, they're improving themselves both physically and mentally to get ready.
Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
To sports overseas, a cloud is hanging over the controversial Gaba rebuild for the 2032 Brisbane Olympics, with a senior games official calling for the multi-billion-dollar project to be scrapped.
It's not looking good for the redevelopment of the Gabba. $2.7 billion was the figure being touted for what would be the rebuild cost. Look, you can add a little bit more to that because potentially it would cost a lot more with the building costs at the moment. But according to Olympic power broker John Coates, that it just doesn't stack up financially at the moment. There's too many budget blowouts when they're doing the costings for the Gabba now. And there's also disputes with other venues as well, and this just doesn't add up at the moment. He's supported in this thought by Adrian Schrinner, so he is the mayor of Brisbane. He thinks that the project is dead. At the moment, there is a 60-day review of all the Olympic venues for the 2032 Olympics and Paralympics Games going on at the moment. That's being conducted by the former Lord Mayor Graham Quirk. So we won't have an official decision on this, Lorna, until at least March.
Okay, what would be the Olympic Stadium then for Brisbane if it did happen?
Well, John Coates has thrown up, I think, a bit of a curveball with this one, Lorna, because he's suggesting what is the home of rugby league in Queensland and probably the country, that is Lang Park. So a rectangular stadium, I don't think I've seen that before, rectangular stadium hosting the opening and closing ceremonies. Obviously the athletics cannot be held there, so another venue is being suggested for that, and that is the Queensland Sports and Athletics Centre. So that is where the 1988 Commonwealth Games was held, and it's also what used to be the home of the Brisbane Broncos when Lang Park was being redeveloped. So that is further out from town, Lorna. That's probably about 20 minutes from here, and a bit of a distance to get to. So interesting decisions, but when it comes to the cost of the Gabba, it's looking like it's just too steep to go ahead with the original.
And that's it for sports. Over to you, Maricela.
Thank you, Jasmine. This is a renewal strong wind warning issued by Papua New Guinea National Weather Service for all coastal waters of Kiwai Island through Gulf of Papua to Kerma and from Port Moresby to Hood Point to Samarai Islands, Halotau and all Milne Bay Islands, including northern PNG Indonesia border to Vanimo to Wewak, Medan to CSC, Long Island to Vitias Dampier Strait to Finchafen, to New Britain Island to St. George Channel to New Ireland to Bougainville, as well as Manus Province. Strong west to northwest winds of 25 to 33 knots are expected to continue for the next 24 hours, causing rough and high seas. All small crafts and boats are advised to take necessary precaution before going out to sea, especially in the warning areas. And that ends this segment of TV1 News. Have a pleasant evening. Bye for now.
TVWan News was proudly brought to you by BSP, our bank,